Hi, and welcome to the Access Direct Opening Bell, your essential pre-market podcast. In just minutes, get key global updates, overnight trends, and market-moving factors that set the tone for the day. Whether you're a seasoned trader or just someone tracking the markets, this is your go-to briefing to stay ahead at all times. So let's dive straight in.
Good morning on a Friday, and we will start with US stocks, which gained, ending the day on an optimistic note as investors prepared for rate cuts to begin after 4 straight meetings that saw none. The S&P 500 jumped 0.8% and ended just a whisker below its February record of 6,144, while the Nasdaq 100 bounced 0.9%, building on its own record. Meanwhile, data showed that continuing applications for unemployment benefits rose to the highest since November 2021, signaling that more people are staying out of work for longer. Separately, quarterly GDP was also revised lower than expected as consumers cut back on spending. Coming to related markets, the VIX fell 1% for its fifth straight loss. The dollar index and the 10-year treasury yield continued their drop. Gold prices fell slightly and were on track for their second straight weekly loss, while Brent crude prices were mostly flat and on track to suffer their worst weekly plunge in 2 years. At home, the rupee rose alongside regional peers as local equities continued their rally. The currency settled at 85.71, which was 38 paise higher from the previous day's close. Coming to stocks, in the Nifty gained 304 points to end the day at 25,549, above critical resistance at 25,500. The India VIX dropped 2.9%, finishing at 12.6 as the stock advance reduced the demand for downside protection. Mid-caps and small-caps also gained on the day but underperformed the Nifty. 60% of the NSE 500 members rallied. 9 of the NSE sectors rose, led by metals and financial services, which gained 2.3% and 1.5% respectively. Media stocks were the worst performers as they fell 1.1%. The best and worst performers on the Nifty were Shriram Finance, which gained 4.2%, and Dr. Reddy's, which fell 1.5%. Technically speaking, like we had mentioned in yesterday's pre-opening note, the inside day pattern was proof that a trending move was coming, and we got one yesterday with more than 5 stocks advancing for every stock that fell in the Nifty. The thrust may have more to go though, with the 25,700 to 25,800 zone the next immediate upside hurdle. And while tactical support at 25,000 is holding, bulls will be optimistic about getting there and beyond sooner than later. Meanwhile, provisional data show that foreigners invested 12,600 crores yesterday, with the month-to-date number flipping to an inflow of 6,923 crores. On to derivatives now. In the Nifty's put-call ratio went from 1.11 to 1.3, while the Bank Nifties went from 0.98 to 1.05. Put open interest climbed. Calls outstanding were unwound, and at the money implied volatility fell 66 basis points at the close, which meant that on a net basis, market participants went bullish. For options set to expire on 3rd July, resistance has moved higher into the 25,600 to 25,800 zone. And so has support, which has shifted higher to between 25,200 and 25,500. The shift higher is a sign of upside confidence. The volatility skew was flat, which means the view from there, at least for the day, is neutral. Speaking net index options activity, foreigners and retail investors were bullish, while proprietary traders were bearish. Elsewhere, foreigners' net short positioning in index futures shrank notably from 107,000 contracts to 35,000 contracts in what was a 67% reduction in bearish bets. Looking forward to today's session, the GIFT Nifty opened 133 points higher. Asian markets were trading in the green, led by Japan. US index futures were flat though. Coming to stocks, Apollo Tyre, JK Tyre and GSPL were at horizontal resistance. Campus Activewear, Oil India and ONGC were at trendline support, while Ambuja Cements, Blue Star and DOMS were at trendline resistance. Speaking market breadth, 76%, 82% and 58% of stocks in the NSE 500 were above their 50, 100 and 200 day moving averages. University of Michigan sentiment, personal income and core PC data are due from the US today. That wraps up the day's podcast. Please note that this podcast serves solely for informational purposes and should not be considered financial advice of any kind. For a comprehensive disclaimer, please visit our website. Thank you, and we will see you on Monday. Have a great weekend.
Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.